We're at Ketchikan, Alaska today, and we love this port. We decided to do something a little different at this port, this cruise. We decided to book an independent excursion because, well, we love to hike. It's one of our hobbies, and the cruise ship just didn't have any hiking tours. So we booked with Wild Wolf Tours, and it's a 3-hour excursion which gives you hiking as well as a visit to a totem park.
You can kind of smell it a little bit, but the deer actually eat the top of this and a sign of a bear. Join together, they become this ballast body here. What they do is they use their specialized fungi that sits on these trees and they form their own. This one here is what they call a snag. It's a dead tree that just hasn't fallen over yet. This is another form of lichen, and it's actually got these. So if this is 700 years old, which is probably what the age of it is, I don't know how many people touch it, but I encourage everybody to touch it. It's a good place to ground if you know anything about grounding. But what they would do is they would cut a bit from it. And not only is the height an indicator of their age, but they said each one of these really big elbow branches, you can add another 100 years to the tree's age. Wow. Each one of those. And that noise you're hearing right now is the red squirrel. Poles are compromised, no longer safe to erect, they land right back in the dirt. They get back their nutrients to the earth from what they took. So it's pretty interesting. They mimic the forest.
Wow.
But I've never done it. It smells like a lawn and it probably tastes like a lawn.
Having such a small group was really great because we were never too far from our guide and we could always hear what he was talking about. And he had so much information.
Yeah, you can even make syrup out of the sap in this. The natives would use it as glue for their totem pools. And you can see the moss stops right where this lichen is at. So it's keeping the moss from growing up the tree. And all these things are called tree stuff. And once they get to eat the skunk cabbage to clean themselves out. Yeah. There's about 12 to 16 inches of topsoil, so these really big winds can actually blow the trees over. What?
If you love to hike like we do, this is the perfect excursion. We had so much information from our guide. He spoke about all the different life forms, all the fungus and plants and animals, the entire hike. It was so informative and so fun and so gorgeous. The Tongass National Forest is amazing.
Changes, they morph, and then they start bodying.
So they actually spawn right in that area.
Yeah, they spawn. They go as far as they can because they're trying to find good spots. Like you see, like on that placard there, they like these little areas like this.
Okay, so we're still used to our channel from Idaho,
okay,
all the way up to Columbia.
Wow. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've never seen a landscape like this before.
Yeah, it's so amazing.
Yeah. It's very unique. Oh, ocean.
This is considered a moderate hike because of all these stairs. There are a lot of stairs. Some of them have railings like this, but some of them do not. So if you're not stable on your feet, or you have bad knees, problems walking and balance, this is not the tour for you.
The one on the right stick is fruit. So they're married at the roots. So I had somebody ask me, they were like, well, which one's the female? And I said, probably the bigger one. There's the matriarchy. The other people here, they're, even our tribal council, like, supporters, but it's matriarchy. Back in the day, they didn't know who the dad was, they knew who the mom was, the mom. So women can create. It's important to good for heart. A lot of sun, they get the berries on. We don't eat those berries. Like I said, my rule of thumb is I don't eat any berries off the ground. That's all the bunch berry. No. They do that for grip.
Wow. Holy cow.
Big spruce.
Somebody was the forestry, yeah. It's illegal to cut down any sort of green forest. They have different the designate areas where people can cut down stuff. But the closer we get to the shore, you start to see some of these, like these trees that get overturned, and they reveal big dens that an animal can make.
Wow. I'd say.
Make a home, like a wolf or a bear. And here's another example of that tree that the wind tried blowing over a few different times, but it's learned to maneuver and twist and turn and stay alive. And again, you see all the moss is stopping right where this lichen is at. So it's pretty neat stuff. And this, I believe this one's called varied rag. That other stuff with the orange on it's cabbage lungwort. Swing that we get, the difference in our tides.
Wow.
And it's a good skipping rock place. All the good skipping rocks are up here, and you got to bring them down to the water. Yeah, I love it. Like I said, I have a full-time job. I just do this on the weekends. But if we flip enough rocks over, we'll find it. anything like that. That was basically their history. It's an oral tradition. Their paint was made out of fish eggs. They would chew up salmon eggs, which has an oil in it, and they would add different things to it to get the color. So they'd chew up the salmon eggs. They'd add charcoal to it to get black. They'd have they could do all this stuff. To the world, and also there was a point where mankind was in complete darkness, and the raven flew down to the beach and saw a clam that had a big crack in it, and he went over there and pounded his beak on the clam and released mankind into the world. That's how man was born into the world, through a clam on the beach. You know that it's a bear. There's actually a pole in here we can go see. It's called the potlatch pole. And it's carved out of red cedar. So you can go in there, you can touch it and check it out. It's out of red cedar, just like that tree we saw in the woods. Highly resistant to rot, insects don't bite it. But they call it the potlatch pole. It's got a beaver here on the bottom, and then that's a wolf right there above it. And then, so wolf, beaver, wolf. This one's an eagle. The beak curves down. That's an eagle. This is a killer whale or an orca. Or blackfish. But you see, they would use the sap from a spruce to glue this in there. And then we have a bear with the flaring nostrils. And then we have a land otter right here. Then there is a frog. I was telling you guys about prosperity and abundance. That's the frog. And then the raven, the most important animal, because it brought daylight and released the sun into the world. So this is the potlatch pole, and they would have carved all this out of those tools there. That bottom tool in that case is the main tool. That's called an adze. Got the eagle and the raven. And I was telling you guys that's the two main crests from the cricket. You got the eagle with his beak. That's how you can tell the eagle. His beak's kind of bent down a little bit like that. Where the raven's beak kind of goes straight in its mouth, and that's actually the sun in its mouth. You see that a lot. You go to British Columbia, you see that. You go to Seattle, you see that. The raven with the sun in its beak. And this would have been the only entrance and exit into these houses. Would have been something small, just like this. And the reason for that is because they would have a fire in there, so they want to keep the heat in there, heat retention. Also, a bear couldn't fit through that. A bear's way too wide. And then the third reason was that when the men were out hunting and fishing, it would just have been women and children in there. Grandmother could sit on the other side of that door with the club and club the warring tribes or the bad guys that came through the door. And you see it bottleneck, so one guy at a time. So she just clubbed each one on the head. So this is top
Perfect.
I can totally tell this is Clinton just by these two. They call them the lovebirds, like I was telling you. If your mom's a raven, you're a raven. Then if you're a raven, it's okay to get with a lady or a man that's from the opposite. And a lot of these carvings have to do with their creation stories, and that's what this one right here is. It's got 4 thunderbirds on there. And the creation of man through thunderbirds and daylight. That's each one of those heads in the corners. Those are supposed to be thunderbirds. They look like Seahawks logo. And over here is the same thing. It's another creation. And it's got the all-seeing eye on top of it, the grand architects of the city.
What are they going to do when these trees get too big for their roofs?
Well, that would actually have been accurate back in the day, the moss and everything, but they would have taken the trees off. But that would have been an insulant for the roof.
Sure.
that right now. It's so cool. And a lady carved that. It's really awesome. That you'll see that, like I said, British Columbia, Seattle, all the way, the raven stealing the daylight or stealing the sun. And over here you got the wolf, the reference to the wolf man, Ketchikan, or your family should be the wolf you eat with it. Down through the river to get a drink. Well, one day he waited for her, and she takes a cup out, she gets into the river, she's about to have a drink. Well, he changed it. The wolf are celebrating, the raven's there in its glory, with the sun above it, and there's a woman there. The natives here, when they do their dance, the women sit on the side and they swing their hands back and forth, and they're singing, and that's what she's doing right there. They're celebrating that the raven released daylight to the world.
We had an amazing day with Wild Wolf Tours here in Ketchikan. What an excellent excursion. It was exactly what we were looking for. The hike was spectacular. Our guide was so informative and answered so many questions that everyone asked. It was perfect, absolutely perfect. The trail was gorgeous, and being able to walk out where the tide had gone out and see all the fish life was fantastic also. After that, going to the Totem Park and hearing all the stories of the different totems and what all the symbols mean was fantastic also. What a great excursion. We do recommend Wild Wolf Tours. So if you enjoyed this video and found the information useful, please give us a thumbs up and think about subscribing. We have lots more adventures coming up. Lots more hiking, camping, and all types of adventures here in New Mexico. So as I always say, get out there and hug a tree. And thanks for watching.